Christmas, it's a time of celebration, it's a time for family, and it's a time for presents. And for most people, a lot of fun. But for one person, Christmas 2008 was anything but. You may remember the story in the United Kingdom of the lady who was locked in the boot of a car for 10 days. Her name is Magdalene Makola, and she joins us here on UCB. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I can't even begin to imagine what that must have been like.
It happened actually last year. I would start by saying this guy, we were not actually friends. I just knew him briefly until he appeared again in November and he wanted to leave luggage. And I said to him, you should come back early to take your luggage because I'm working tomorrow. And normally when I'm working, I go to bed early. He didn't come back until midnight. When I was already in bed, I had a knock and I didn't open. And he came back the following day in the evening. I came back from work around 8:30 or to 9, somewhere there in the evening. And I prepared myself and just to go to bed. And he just came back there and said, oh, you can take your luggage. And then he says, oh no, do you mind if I use your bathroom? You know, innocently, I just showed him the bathroom. And then he went there and changed. And then when he came back, he said, can I bother you? And I said, with what now? And then he was like, can you take me to airport? I've got an interview in Europe. And I said, no, I'm not going there. Or last night I came here and knocked. You didn't open. I ended up going to sleep in bed and breakfast. You know, quickly I just say, you were going to sleep in Tuli's children. We never agreed that you'll sleep in my house anyway. And all of a sudden you're talking about, you know, coming to sleep here. You know, he gave me the statement as if we agreed that he's gonna sleep in my house. And I just thought, something's fishy here. I can't take, I just said, take your luggage and go.
Then what happened?
And then he took the luggage. He was really disappointed, I could tell. And when I locked my door, I even thought, I don't think he'll ever come back in this house because I was really sharp with him. And then he left. But to my surprise, on the 16th, I was on the phone talking to my friend in Leicester. And then I just had a knock around 2:30. And this friend of mine says to me, do you have an appointment today? I said, no, I don't have an appointment. And he says, why are you going to open there? And I said to him, you know, it's during the day. What will happen during the day? I don't think it's dangerous. It's like at night. And then he says, no, don't put the phone down. Go and check who is he. And then when I opened the door, it was him. And I said to this friend of mine, no, that's fine. It's somebody I know, innocently. And I said to him, hey, you came at the wrong day. I'm doing nights. I was wearing my night dress and a gown because I just finished my nights the previous morning, on the 15th in the morning. And then he says, you know, he just changed the statement and says to me, never even answered about it. He says, oh, you are using an old heating system in this house, isn't it? And I thought, what are you talking about? And he sort of now came up to the hallway and pointing at an old vent. And then when I lifted my head to look at what he was pointing, and then that's when I had him grabbing me with my neck. And then all of a sudden there was a knife on the right-hand arm. And I tried to scream, and then he says, look here, I'm a professional in this job. I kill people if I like. It's just that you don't know this. And then he was sort of now pushing me on the floor and say, you lie down, and then using all those, the F word. And I was now terrified with the knife and stuff, and then I just went down. So when I was lying on the floor, he sort of pulled my arms quickly at the back. And then he used the sellotape. And then he blindfolded me and gagged me. And then he used sellotape as well on my legs. And then secondly, he used the rope on my arms.
What must you have been thinking at that time?
I was really terrified, and I was sort of, oh God, what have I done to you? Why is he doing this to me? I don't know. Maybe he wants to rape me or what. But when he started tying my legs, I thought, he's up to something, or he just want to kill me.
Did you think you were going to die at that stage?
That time, I never thought of death. I just thought, I'll see what they are up to. And then he went upstairs. I could hear the footstep. He was just going into my bedrooms and then the other bedrooms. And then he came back and kneeled down and said, where are your bank cards? I think just there, and then I just knew he wanted money. And I was sort of now trying to calm myself down. Maybe if he get the money, he'll just get out. And then I can try to rescue myself. I started thinking of how I can rescue myself in the house. He went upstairs, took the bank cards where I've told him they were, and then he came back and said, I've got this card and this card, I want the PIN numbers. And then I told him the PIN numbers. I changed all of them, the last numbers of my
That is so incredibly brave to be able to think to change the number.
I just thought, you know, in my mind, I think he gave me a chance when he went upstairs. That's when I started thinking of it. I said, when he went out to the bank, I'm going to try to scream, maybe neighbors can hear. And I was even thinking of how am I going to roll to the phone or maybe just press 999. You know, I was just thinking, not knowing that he's got another agenda. And all of a sudden, I had him putting a rope. He just slipped it over to my neck. And then I had him, you know, sort of moving it around. And I'm like, oh, my God. Maybe when he went upstairs, he was preparing the rope somehow so that I'll be found hanged in my house or what, as if I've killed myself or... And I just didn't know. There I was really, really terrified. I thought, that's me. This man is gonna kill me. And lately, I heard him lifting me up, and he says, we are going to the bank, and don't disturb my job, and don't make any noise. And then I just kept quiet. He said, hey, do you hear me? Understand what I'm saying? And I said, yeah. You know, like, because I was gagged, I couldn't talk. I started being worried because I knew I gave the wrong number, PIN number. You know, of course, he's gonna find out that I gave the wrong PIN numbers. And I thought, I don't know, we'll see. And then he put me at the back of the back seat of the car. We went wherever he stopped. By then I didn't know where we were, but it was in every area. And all of a sudden, he received a call. So I just heard him saying, don't bully me, you're harassing me. I've told you I'll give you your money. I'm still organizing myself. I will give you your money. And I thought, oh, he's doing this because there's somebody harassing him who wants his money or her money. I didn't know who the person was. And then later he went out. I think now he was going to the ATM. And then I tried to sit down on a chair. And then because my arms were still at the back, and then I pushed myself harder to the windscreen of the car at the back. And then it raised the alarm on. Unfortunately, it was him coming back, running to the car. And then he says to me, you gave me the wrong PIN number. I've told you not to disturb my job. And you're still busy now trying to distract what I'm doing. Look here, the earlier I leave this country, the better. I want that money. And he says, I'm going to teach you a lesson in 5 minutes. And he drove 5 minutes. I just heard him pulling me with my legs and throw me in the boot.
So you've gone from the back of the car
of the back,
into the boot.
Into the boot. And then he held that knife again and said, look, are you giving me the PIN numbers or what? I said, but that's the right PIN number I gave you. He said, repeat them. And then I told him. He said, are you sure it's the numbers you gave me? I said, yes. And then he changed those last numbers. And then he gagged me again and then blindfolded me. And then I just slept. It was just a long time.
Were you in a state of shock then, do you think?
I was now beginning to have that anger, frustration, you know, just because he got what he wanted. And I just thought, what is he up to, and for how long is he gonna leave me here? He came at some point. He drove somewhere and asked for the password for telephone banking. And then I gave him. And then he says, you are going to use your phone, but I'll hold it for you. And he says to me, take a deep breath before you talk to them. And then I said to him, what have I done to you to deserve this? And then he says, stop this business of yours. Are you ready to talk to the bank? And I said, okay, that's fine.
Are you hopeful at this stage that people know that you are missing and maybe they're looking at your bank account? Had that crossed your mind?
By then, I was quite worried about people at work. I knew that I should have been at work, and for sure they are going to be worried, like, why did she not report? And I think my prayers were really, because they were the only people who can know.
And had you been praying before then?
I did pray quite often in the boot. And I said to him, you know, I even forgotten to tell you that if you do a telephone banking, it's just for an appointment. You'll have to go to the nearest branch and produce your pay slip and your ID. And then he says to me, close your mouth there. And then he gagged me again. This time it was really quite harder. And then I just lied again there, and then he drove. And that's when I heard that he left the car in the station. But I didn't know which station.
At any point were you banging in the boot to try and get attention?
Well, I started now trying to shuffle about and lie in a diagonal position so that my feet can face, you know, the end of the boot, so that I'll be able to kick. And I really managed to do that. So when I had footstep, I kept kicking the boot, but unfortunately people were not hearing that.
So now you believe you're going to die?
Yeah, now I just believe that. And I strongly believed that maybe that's how God planned it, that I'll die this way.
One of the articles that I read about you at the time said that you made friends with death.
I never really had a problem with dying, but I was worried, what if he's going to do something with my body? I just want my family to, you know, receive that body and bury me with respect. And as long as they'll keep knowing our child will, you know, sleep in there.
And because you knew that if you did die, you'd be in heaven.
Yeah. I just thought, you know, when I was in the boot, I said, God, I don't know really what have I done if this is a punishment. But I really apologize. You know, I started also apologizing for whatever I have done. Because I just didn't understand why I can be treated that way. And we all know that one day we are going to die. But we don't want to die in a miserable state like that. You just want to die comfortably.
Can I take you back then to, you're in the car boot, you've kicked a number of times and no one has heard.
Yeah.
Now 10 days has gone by.
I didn't even know by then I didn't even know how long I was in there. It's so amazing, really, because, okay, I was not comfortable, but I was not in agony. I was not in pain. I was just all right. But I just kept saying, who will ever take me out of this? And I will pray, God, please, can somebody just hear this kicking? But they were not hearing me, and I thought, let me just sleep then. So when I slept, when I woke up, I started fighting. You know, I just said to myself, people are not hearing this kicking in the boot. But because I didn't have energy anymore, I was powerless. I said, let me try to bite this sellotape and maybe try to shuffle around this mat of my car, then maybe I'll be able to take the sellotape off. But I was worried, what if this sellotape moves up?
Because all your breathing is through your nose.
Yeah, I was breathing through my nose. And then I might end up now suffocating myself. But fortunately, all of a sudden, I had two men talking outside. And to my imagination, I thought they were walking slowly somewhere. And I thought maybe it's a bin man. They're coming to take beans or what. I just have that imagination that it must be bin men. And I thought, before they move away, let me scream for help. And I screamed for help. They were like, somebody help. And I heard them stopping. And I thought at the beginning, maybe they've gone. And then I heard somebody talking again, and I screamed again. And I heard them now, the footsteps coming near my car. And all of a sudden, I heard the smashing of the window. And I thought, they've heard me. And the other one, I think he opened the, what do we call, the boot. And I said to them, can I have something to drink, please? I tried to drink, but I was really shivering now. The water was cold. I could not drink that water at all. And I said to them, don't you have a juice? And then they said, no, we are the police. We're just waiting for an ambulance. And I thought, oh, the police. And, you know, just for him to mention police, I was overwhelmed by that. And I thought, I'm in the hands of the police. And I think I passed out because I can't remember when they took me out of the boot. When did they untie me? Or I was untied in hospital or in an ambulance, or I don't know. I never had them untying me. And I think when I woke up, I could tell it, because I was blindfolded for a longer period, the light rays were really a problem for me. I couldn't open my eyes, I couldn't see them properly, but I could tell that it's either it's doctors or nurses, this ones. And and when I woke up, I think they also realized, and then they say, we're trying to give you quite a lot of fluids because your kidney were about to lose function, the function. And don't worry, we're trying to put a Venflon. And then I just, it was just getting in and coming out.
How long was it before you got to talk to your parents?
After New Year, I think.
That must have been a horrendous time for them.
No, now I was now in contact with what had happened to me. I was still having, I just had that anger. I didn't want to talk about it. I wasn't strong to talk to my parents. Everything was just painful, I would say. So, but I managed. I remember I talked to my mother, and I couldn't have a long conversation. She just says to me, how are you like? And then I say, I'm getting all right. And then, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And then she says, oh, my child, try to be strong. We're praying very hard as well at home. And I said, okay, but I could tell I was becoming emotional talking to her.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want her to hear what was going through in my mind. And then I remember by then my brother was here. And then I just gave my brother a phone. And from there I was moved from one ward to another, one ward to another. And I think I gained my consciousness fully the following day. On the 26th, really, I wasn't myself at all. So this detectives came in and said, have you heard the news? And I thought, what news? They said, he's been arrested. I said, who? I said, this guy who did this. I said, no, that one is in South Africa. They said, no, he's still here. I said, I can't believe this. Why did he left me in the boot of a car for such a long time? I started having now this lot of questions. Why me? Why he did this? But I didn't have any answer. I just thought, I'm really frustrating myself more and more about this. Why? one of the nurses says to me, "Oh, Magdalene, I've seen you in the newspaper and in the news." And I said, "Me?" He says, "Yes." And I said, "Well, what did I want? I think I was coming back, but a little bit muddled up as well." And he says, "No, you were reported missing." I said, "Oh, they reported me." She says, "Yes." I said, "Okay, anyway, now I'm found." And she said, "Oh, you are a lucky woman." I said, "I think so, for a life. To be given that second chance to live again." It was amazing.
Yeah, but the end wasn't you getting out of the boot, because I've read that you have forgiven the man who has done this.
Esther, I did have that anger, but now when I started praying, getting that strength, and then worst part, when I went home, we were just praying together, and my mother was just saying, I'm a mother. I know how it's like even for his mother. I wonder how his mother feels really today. How will I feel if, it was just my mother saying, how will she feel to hear that her son has done something like this to somebody's child? So I just thought, thank God for my life. I'm moving on, and I'm just putting everything at the back of my mind, and I just decided to forgive him. I just felt like now I'm a newborn somebody, then I'm going to move on.
The emotional recovery, you're okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. There's nothing really I can compare. I can talk about it today to everybody, whereas before it was difficult. And I'm sleeping well, I'm eating well, I'm now going out like I used to. But the only slight problem is darkness. I don't want, even if I go out with friends, I have to make sure before it's dark, I'm in the house, which is a bit of a problem because I don't know when I'll go back to work. How am I going to manage? Because if you come out of the house 6:30, it's still dark, winter time. And I'll see. But I think I'll just keep praying, and then I know God will be, if he manages to sort everything out, and even that one will go away.
We've heard, Magdalene, that you use the word for you today, which of course is the devotional that at UCB goes to all the people who listen to our radio and watch our TV around the world. Mm-hmm. You've used this devotional? Yeah,
I did. When I went home from hospital, because I've been reading it all along before this thing happened, and then when I was discharged from hospital, I was just reading A Wait For You Today, every day. And it was really like strengthening me day by day. And when I came to the portion where they were talking about let it go, I think that one was the most encouraging thing to me. I just felt like, the load was just coming out of my shoulders. And I thought, why do I have to carry on this load when God is there for me and is really guiding even when you read it? There's no need for us to be carrying all these things in our lives. It's normal though to have problems in our life. Know that God is there with you, and I thought, yeah. But it's different. When people leave your house, you are alone. You need something that will carry you through. But that magazine was something always to me.
Magdalene, it was just the most wonderful thing to get your email, and I can remember a group of us were reading it in the office and going, that's amazing. This is the lady who was in the newspaper, and we'd read the stories, and now all of a sudden we were connecting with you. Thank you so much for coming to UCB and spending time with us. Yeah. We greatly appreciate hearing your story. It's encouraging. Thank you.
Thanks.
The experience of Christmas 2008, it will never ever leave Magdalene. I think we can probably safely assume that. Today her faith is strong, it's rooted in God. Thank you again for sharing your story with us on UCB. I'm Gary Hoogvliet. Thank you for watching.
You're welcome.